Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Robbos Gobcast Sports Show. Welcome to the Reading FC podcast. We are back doing a Monday podcast with you guys. We were going to do a live stream, or we weren't going to do a live stream, but we were going to have Courtney on today, but due to the snow and family issues that he had to go and take care of, he's unable to attend, but he will be back again very soon, where we will get his thoughts on that. But I think if I am right, Josh, is this your first Sunday on the podcast?
This is my first Monday podcast because I was on a stream. I was on a stream, but yeah.
So welcome.
Welcome.
Not that you do fucking everything else, but welcome. So today the game of the Reading versus Preston North End game finished literally half an hour ago. I think it was when we were recording this. We've just had a bit of a discussion, but we're going to go through some topics and we're going to go through some stuff about the game in a second. But before we do, let me just run through things of what we're going to be doing moving forward. So while you guys are here, and what we're going to be discussing about in this game, in this podcast. So don't forget as well, we do Monday to Friday worth of podcasts and live streams. Monday, we always do a Reading FC podcast. If it's not on a Monday, we will do it Sunday evening on doing a live stream, which you guys can catch up or watch again. We will always be on YouTube for you. If you're listening to this, you could go over to YouTube as well, as we do a lot more stuff on there than we do on the other platforms as well. Don't forget, on Tuesdays, we do a wrestling podcast for everyone, and we do a live stream on Twitter, where we will be talking. The live stream is about the NFL, about what happened over the weekend, and we will be slowly building up to the Super Bowl on the podcast on the Thursday. But the Tuesday podcast will be about all things WWE, and we will be building up to this Sunday. I've got to remember that it's Monday. Next Sunday's Royal Rumble, one of the biggest pay-per-views in WWE. I'm very, very excited for this one. And you can hear our thoughts and views on that as well, going in and see our predictions. And then come enjoy it. Wednesday, we will be going back to Formula One. We've got a lot of news, lots of topics. Don't forget, before we do that, last week, me, Josh and Connor did our predictions for the 2021 season. And two of us had a very good prediction, or something quite close. One of us had a fucking nightmare. But but you guys can go and check that out. Thursday will be NFL, where we'll be discussing that and building up slowly towards the Super Bowl. And then on Friday, we will be back doing another Reading FC podcast, building up to that evening's Reading versus Bournemouth game. We might do it on release it a day early on a Thursday, just so that you have it a day before. But it all depends on the week and what goes on and lockdown and shit. So we will see how everything goes moving on, but we will still get another Reading FC podcast this week. Don't forget as well, down below in the description is a link to all of our social media pages, to each page we do on each sport that we have as well, and we talk about. Thank you, Josh, for putting down below. And also, don't forget as well, if you're watching this or listening to this, don't forget you could go follow us on Apple Music, on Spotify and Soundcloud, where you will get a notification for one of our videos go live. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and click the bell that will give you instant notification of when we go live. Right, enough of the shit. Let's get into it. Before we get going, and before we get into anything, what we need to do, it was certain someone's birthday over the weekend, Mr. Ryan, which I didn't notice until he put it in a group chat where he says, "Oh, it's my birthday." And I went,
"I didn't put it."
"Oh, someone put it. I don't know who put it. Someone put it was your birthday." And I went, "Oh, fuck, I haven't done anything." So, because I haven't done it,
download.
I know, but me and Josh are now going to sing "Happy Birthday" to you. Don't mute us or turn us off. You're going to fucking listen to this.
He has already. He already has.
I know.
No, I've not. Turned you down.
We're going to be singing "Happy Birthday" to you. Ready, Josh?
Okay. How old are you right now? 22?
23.
23. Right. 3, 2, 1.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Ryan. Happy birthday to
you.
Turn it back up now.
Hey,
Hip.
Mark was lagging on my Zoom call, so I just
Oh,
had to
you-
try and catch when you were singing.
You were coming through every other word I was saying. You were coming through on mine, so I was just going. I'm just going to sing it and see how it turns out at the end.
Yeah, basically, we won't know till post. We won't know till post how it's turned out.
We have no clue. So happy birthday! I hope you had a good birthday. As I tweeted out before, on the podcast, you are the only person who I can talk to about mainly a lot of things. You and Josh as well, but you've been there and helped us since day one. And if it wasn't for you, this podcast would never be the way it is today. So thank you ever so much. I hope you do have a good birthday. And yeah, enough emotional shit. For now, start crying. So let's get into it. Let's get into the Reading FC Coventry game. Ryan, I'm going to go to you first and on the spot. We literally have no prep for this, by the way. We're literally off the cuff. I'm just going to say random shit and put them on it. Yeah,
What are we talking about?
Reading v Coventry now.
Coventry in the week.
Coventry.
I meant Preston. I knew who I meant.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's
I know who I meant.
What?
That's why I was a bit confused. I thought we did that the other day.
I'm tired. Leave me alone. I've got kids. I'm blaming them. Preston. They're close to each other, I think. No, they're not.
No.
One's the Midlands, one's like Manchester.
No, we're
No.
near each other.
That's the saying we're near to Yeovil.
Didn't ask you to pipe up there, Sonny Jim. All right.
We're nearer to Yeovil than Preston is to Coventry.
I make a lot of mistakes on here.
They don't say one
I
mistake.
make one mistake. It's like, no, I don't. Right, Ryan, go to you against the I was about to say Peterborough. What was I going to say, Peterborough?
They're not even. They're in League One.
For some reason, I was about to take the piss.
Right.
And go, let's go to Coventry, but then I was about
Stop
to...
the recording. Let's start.
Oh, God. Right.
Let's write it off. Start again.
I'm not editing this either.
I just
edit it out
start
either.
again. Start again. I want to hear happy birthday again. I don't.
Yeah. Right, Ryan, to you. Team news. The only change was for the team news was Elise come out and Luco come in. Elise was dropped to the bench and Luco. There was no changes on the bench either, apart from I think Gibson was back, if I'm right.
Gibson was back.
Yeah.
And that meant East dropped out, I think.
Yeah, Elise or Pendlebury or one of them two was missed out. But what did you make of that team news? Was that the correct team news to go for?
Yeah, I think so. You don't change a winning team unless you're forced to for a suspension or injury, which obviously is the case because Elise went off injured against Coventry in the week. Yeah, like I think he got the team selection spot on, to be honest. Like I literally just said, you don't want to make a change when it's not needed, unless and obviously he didn't feel that Aluko was up to it. Elise was up to it.
Get the name right, Jesus.
Okay, Mr. Peterborough.
So yeah, why would I say P? I still don't get what. Anyway, Josh, I'm going to go to you. Tactics wise, with Aluko coming in, I know that he plays a little bit differently to the way Elise plays. But before the game and before we go on to the game, when you saw that lineup,
you mean not as good?
What did I say?
A little bit differently.
Well, he plays a little bit different.
Yeah, just not as good. I'm translating to people that don't get the lingo.
All right. Okay. You fucking put me off now. How are Luco coming in? How was the way that Reading were going to change the way they were going to play in this game? Was there going to be any difference? Big difference, or were they just going to stay the same?
It was going to stay fairly the same. I think you saw a little bit less rotation because Aluko seems to hug the wing a bit more than Elise does. Elise likes to because he's a more competent footballer, to put it simply, than Aluko. So Aluko kind of uses his main asset, which is his ability to get the ball down the line and work it inside, where Elise kind of drifts with the ball, which is where you kind of see that Paunovic, where you have the four kind of rotate round. You don't see it as much with Aluko because he kind of hugs that right touch line, which meant it gave a good option for Holmes at points, which sometimes Elise wouldn't give, where he's on the touchline ready to receive the ball in space. Which Holmes played a lot better today as well, because I think he always had that outlet of going to Aluko. And Aluko played quite well, to be fair, on that right-hand side.
No, I thought that as well. Right, let's get into the game. We don't want to dibble-dabble. First 10 minutes, I think it popped up on Sky that Reading had 19%, not even that, percent possession compared to Preston were dominating the ball. Do you think that was intentional by Reading, or do you think Preston just went off to an absolute flying start and it just took Reading a few minutes to get into the game?
I think a bit of both. Like, I don't think the intention was to let them have that much of the ball, but it does seem to be quite a pattern. We saw it against Rotherham, Wickham, them kind of teams earlier in the season. Let them have the ball, knowing that they weren't going to do much with it. And to be fair, I think throughout the game, Preston didn't really look like doing much with the ball. And it just gave us a chance to sort of put our feet down and grow into the game a lot. And we saw it after that first 10 minutes. I don't think there was a point that we looked really uncomfortable.
No, maybe that chance towards the end of the first half where Raphael made a good save. But even then, we didn't ever look uncomfortable at that. Like, yes, it's a bit last ditch, but it wasn't like the players looked like they were shitting themselves, was it really? Like, still seemed fairly all right with it. Like, I think we have this thing where we start slowly, I feel. Like, Huddersfield, today we started quite slowly. Even, I know we went 1-0 up in that game after about 12 seconds, whatever it was, but Blackburn, we kind of almost got gifted that goal. And then even then, we went and conceded fairly quickly after early on to make it 1-1 in that game. Like, I feel we start quite slowly at points, but it's just made up for the fact that we're strong enough at the back most of the time that we can hold out.
Okay, so I'm gonna. Do we rely too much on Reno and Lauren to break things down, and everyone else seems to drift about, or is that the mentality that we have to rely on them to because of the work rate that Pono puts on the team? Is it their main job, or do the players rely on them too much?
I don't think we rely on them at all. I just think it's sort of a coincidence that it's always them two. They're, like we've said so many times, like we've sung their praises so much on here, but it's always them. Like,
it's always deserved.
Yeah. You've seen Lauren absolutely bust a gut and sprint 80 yards and win the ball back. But I think you can rely on them too, but I don't think it's a case of the other players thinking, well, we'll rely on them to do it. I still think I still think they put as much effort in, but it's comfortable for them knowing that you lose the ball, you've got a 6-foot brick wall defending your back four.
I think also it's the fact that we kind of play, or most of the time we'll play this press with the front four, where they'll run out to press, and if they beat that press, then those two just kind of seem to be there with the right positioning to win the ball back. In terms of, not coincidence, but they just position themselves so well that they just are there to win the ball back.
So as I was going to say, Elise come out, Aluko come in. How did you feel with Aluko's performance? And at the same time, after John Swift's 60-minute cameo appearance during the week against Coventry, where he got 1 goal and 1 assist and our man of the match, voted by the fans. What did you make of both of their performances? I think everyone was keeping a very close eye on Swift to see if he was going to play the 90 minutes, and he did. I think he did in the end, didn't he? And he was also a close eye to see on how if Aluko is just, if he's getting better, or he's just fluttering in games. How did you both feel that they both performed? Josh, I'll go to you first.
I think Sonny Aluko is probably one of our better attackers today. He seems to do everything right other than the free kick, which he probably shouldn't have taken, because that's right in Swift's range, that one,
Mm-hmm.
the first half. But other than that, he didn't do much wrong. Created a good few opportunities, and I think he's probably the attacker that, when they made the substitution to bring Semedo on, I think taking Aluko off was probably the wrong decision. But yeah, he played well, and if we see him again this Friday, because at least he isn't ready and he's picked, I wouldn't be angry about it. As long as it's not with Estevez behind him is my thing. I don't think those two work as a pair on that right-hand side.
Mm-hmm.
I think Holt and Aluko works as the pair for when Elise isn't picked, or if Elise does go and we don't get a replacement in.
Yeah, I agree. Ryan, what was your opinion on Aluko and your opinion on Swift?
Yeah, I don't think Aluko played too bad, but I agree with what Josh said. It was just a free kick. I don't understand, especially the one just before half time where he's. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he actually cleared the stand. It was awful. And that one in particular, that was the perfect position for a right foot. I do not understand why Swift didn't take it.
Right foot is perfect. So I get what he was trying to do was have the keeper think that Swift's going to hit on his right and go up and over, and he's going to come in with the left and wrap it round. I get that. But Swift is such a dead ball specialist that to not have Swift on that free kick is a bit stupid. It's a bit like when Liam Moore took one before he got injured. He came and took one from the edge of the box.
Against Nottingham Forest. I was at that game. That was fucking epic.
Yeah.
That was epic. There was no need for him to take that at all. It just looked like he went, I'm captain, I'm doing it, I don't care. I'm just doing this because I want to see if I can take a free kick, and just fucking lamped it. That was about it.
He hit the wall, didn't he?
He missed the wall and completely just went wide. Fucking shit. It was fucking awful. If I remember it, I just remember going.
I remember him doing the proper centre back free kick of running up like the David Luiz running up and just hitting it on the side of his foot.
Just smashing it.
Smashing on the side of your foot and hope it goes well.
So let's talk about Reading in a whole. How did you feel with the team performance? We knew that after the first 10 minutes, we started keeping control of the ball. There wasn't. I couldn't really point a standout moment or a standout player for Reading. There wasn't really someone for me that really was head and shoulders above everyone else. They just all seemed to be level par with each other.
I could disagree.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Of course, like I don't really need to think about it. Who stood out? It's Laurent again.
That's what I was going to say. It's just Laurent.
Yeah, he's not.
I think it's got to a point now where for me, it's one of those things where you don't really notice it anymore because he does it all the time. You just know that he's going to do that. You know he's going to do well.
Yeah, it doesn't mean he didn't play well.
No, I didn't say he didn't play well. I never said he didn't play well. I just said, for me, someone who should have, one of those front four players we've got, never took the game by the horn, and as I said before, they relied on our defence to sort them out.
On the other hand, I don't think anyone really had a terrible game. Obviously, Zhao wasn't really in it. He didn't.
I was going to say, would you not class him as having a terrible game because he didn't do anything?
But that's different because that's not him having a bad game necessarily.
Yeah,
he just didn't get much service. He just didn't get any service, and when he did, they got rugby tackled or had about 3 men on him defending him. So the one time he was 1-on-1 in the box, he won the foul. Realistically, I know he fucked up the pen, but he still won the foul.
Yeah,
that's what you want from your attacker, is to either get a shot off and test the keeper or draw a foul. That's what you need.
Was that his worst performance or the worst game that he's played for Reading in since he's joined us, or is this the worst game he's played since? Well, especially this season.
I can't think of many worse, to be fair. But
This season,
again,
I'd say worst performance.
but again, it comes back to what Josh literally just said. He just didn't get the service, and like you said, he won the foul.
Okay, so who's that down to? Is that down to the tactics? Is that down to the players?
I wouldn't
What's
blame it
that down to for them not giving Joel the supply that he needed?
No,
it's down to Preston being tactically aware.
Yeah.
I think Preston, to give credit to them, had a game plan and perfected it. They frustrated us.
What did you make of Preston's performance? We're going to be slightly biased in this, I think, as an opposition team. But what did we make of Preston's performance? Did we?
Dogged, very dogged, proper British defensive performance of just everything behind the ball. And then if we get after the first 10 minutes, as when we grew into the game, it's kind of, if we get a break on, we'll break and try and make the most of an opportunity, which they kind of did at spells, like where they got a ball down, they got the ball down the right hand side a few times and got a few balls into the box, but that's about it. And Raphael dealt with them comfortably, and then we just got back on the ball again. They didn't do much going forward, but at the back they were fairly solid. Quite
honestly, what I thought of Preston, I was half expecting the game to finish 28-26 because I thought it was a rugby league match.
I'll say you.
I knew you were going there. I knew you were going there. Yeah, I agree. I think they definitely put in a few tackles, but contact sport in the end, isn't it?
Yeah. Again, it comes back to what I just said. They had a game plan and they set up perfectly. One thing I said to you before, and I'll say it again now, their reaction to the ref giving a penalty, I wouldn't be surprised to see them get a fine or some sort of punishment from the FA for losing control of their players. You can't have 6 players stood around absolutely shouting in the linesman's face, and then to carry on after Jeff Elchingham has given the penalty, you could see him just lipping off to the ref again.
I do think they slightly, that whole lipping off of the referee also was slightly to just delay time, and almost, the whole thing of if you delay time, it kind of then puts the striker in a bit more pressure because he's having to stand around waiting to take this penalty.
Yeah.
And then I think that might have partly played a role in João missing it. I don't know. Only he can tell you, really.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. So I know that there was, which one player disappointed you the most? I set this up perfectly just for Josh. Set you up perfectly for this. Which one player disappointed you the most that should have done also, which should have done better, Josh?
For me today, Ovi was just a bit lackluster at points. He had good little spells, especially when he kind of drifted his side of Swift. But a lot of the time, I felt he just offered not much. Like, I saw it in the Instagram live. Dave said perfectly that he tries to overplay it sometimes and do too much of the ball. He just needs to play it simple sometimes.
Yeah, it's kind of like he takes on a player, beats them, and think, "Oh, I've done it once. I'll go back and do it again.
I'll go again." Yeah, but the main example, for me in that one is right at the end. He gets the ball, keeper's off his line at the start, so he's not set. He's running back to goal. Ovi's a competent footballer, can strike a ball. Why not jink inside and have a go at the keeper who's off his line and not set? Because keeper moving backwards, he's going to not have as much momentum as he normally would, being on his toes, ready to go and dive for the ball, is he? So maybe he should have just had a go. Like, end of the game, no one's going to bollock him, is he, really? If he was on his own, really. I get he tried to win a foul in the box, but he was so slow at getting to the box. He didn't drive with the ball to try to get to the box quickly and then draw the foul. He slowed up, waited to have men on him to then draw the foul. But because there's 3 men on him, he's probably not going to win the foul, is he, then, at that point? So, yeah, Ovi disappointed me today, and that's kind of linking to the point of I wouldn't have taken a Luco off, I would have taken Ovi off today.
Okay, let's go on. Let's go on about substitutes. Let's talk about them. That was a big talking point I could see on Twitter, which is always a great place, a source for knowledge for great fans, is Twitter. So let's go on about that then. Do you think, one, he made the right decisions with the substitutes? Two, was the substitutes correct in what he did? And what would you have done the same thing or something different?
Can I answer it with a sort of a football manager press conference answer?
You're going to go passionate, assertive?
Passionate.
All right, go on.
I feel like the 11 players out there on the pitch were more able to affect the game than the options that were on the bench.
Yeah.
Okay, carry on a second. I'm going to have a look at, again, who was on the bench. Other than Elise, which we spoke about before, I completely understand and agree with it. I would rather him play 60 minutes against Bournemouth on Friday night than risk him for 10 and him get injured tonight. Bournemouth is a much more important game, in my opinion, than today.
The bench was Southwood, Estevez, Gibson.
Yeah, Preston's a difficult place to go. There's no taking it away. Preston is a very hard place to go.
So bench was Southwood, Estevez, Gibson, Tetek, Elise, Kamara, or I don't know. Yeah. Kamara and
Boulder, Kamara, Estevez, Gibson, Elise, Onan, Semedo, Southwood, and Tetek.
Yeah, Onan as well. I'd like to see Onan get some minutes. I quite like Jaden Onan.
Yeah, but
against Luton, and then again by bringing a young player on in a game where you need 3, you could have easily got the 3 points. Bring a youngster on at that point. It's a bit.
Okay, so there was a lot of people on Twitter, and there's a lot of people going around. They were moaning that Elise didn't come on. What were your both opinions on him not using Elise and him?
Well, I just said it. I would rather him play 60 minutes, 50 minutes, half a game on Friday night than needlessly risk him today. Yeah, he might have created something, but like I've literally just said, Preston is a very difficult place to go.
Yeah, I think not bringing Elise on was probably the right decision, but I think the fact that he was just on the bench, and then also it didn't help that the commentator said that he's doing a more vigorous warm-up, whatever it was. If you listen to the Sky commentary, he said he's starting to do a more vigorous warm-up, and he said Elise might be coming on. I don't think that helped with the perception of, Elise is much fit, he can come on.
Plus, we also we all saw he went off injured the other day. He was very clearly in discomfort. You saw in the warm-up, Preston had a player had to drop out of the squad because he got injured in the warm-up.
Same injury as well, by the way.
Yes, shoulder injury as well. So,
and I think the club have learned from the Moore issue last season as well.
Do you think as well, I said this before we started recording, so I'm going to say it on here now, do you think that they put him on the bench as more of a psychological advantage over Preston than it was to actually put him on? Because if you look back at the pre-match interview with Paunovic on Sky, he basically turned around and said Michael is a diamond and he wants to look after him and make sure he gets through things and do things and looks after him. So for me, when he said that, my first instinct is he ain't playing. He is not going to be playing because one, there's no disrespect to Preston, and they will obviously going to be a very tough game as being 2 points ahead of us in the form table in the last 6. They were obviously going to be a tough game to go up against. But if we want to, and I think they showed a record where we've only beaten 2 teams in the top 10. Or come out on top of the top 2 teams out of the top 6.
Two out of the top 10.
Yeah, so that Reading have beaten.
We beat 2 in 9.
Yeah, so that's the record that I think if we're going more than, I think people need to look at. It's more than if we go to the end of the season, miss out on a point. This isn't a game that we should be looking back at as this is something that we missed out on. We need to start looking at that record where we're going up against teams that hypothetically or better than us, we're not coming up with a result. For me, this is a personal point, and I want to get what you guys think. that is a more of a mental factor than it is a playing factor. Because if you look at some of these players that are in the team now that are challenging for the top 6, that are challenging for the top 8, whatever you want to, wherever we be ourselves now, this is a team that have been challenging for the bottom half, or the bottom, or trying to fight relegation for the past, 2-3 years, shall we say? So now their mentality has to change, where now they've got to go, well, we haven't got to worry about teams coming up at us. We now need to go and get those teams. So for me, this was always going to be a season of mentality, to change the club's mentality of, let's not think of this club as a relegation battle, mid-table battle. This is a goodbye, Ryan. And we're back. Sorry about that. Ryan had a bit of a funny moment with his device. He's recording on with watching him on the podcast with. So yeah, back to the point I was making with us, and I think we need to start looking at that as the possibility why we won't be getting top 6. Because if you look at some of the good teams, they will either find a result that will get them in, or they will beat teams in and around them to prove that they're a better team. I think that's one of the things that I think it really is for us, a mentality season where we have to change the mentality of this club. And the fans need to change their mentality as well. And that's one of the things we need to look at as well, because there's certain fans out there that expect us to win every single fucking game and win it by 5 or 6-0. And
I predict us to win every.
It's not going to happen, and you've got to be realistic and think about it more logically, which people are not doing. Ryan, I know that just before we come back, you said you wanted to say something, so Ryan, I'm going to go to you.
Yeah. So you said a minute ago, or 5 at this point, but about us only winning 2 in the last 9, whatever it is, against the current top 10. I just want to flip it on the other hand. So I'm looking at the current top 10 now. You've got Norwich, Swansea, Watford, Brentford, us, Bournemouth, Middlesbrough, Stoke, Bristol City and Preston. And then Blackburn are in 11th, but have a game in hand on Preston, so can count them, could not.
They're playing now. That's the game that's on now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Brad should have just kicked someone in the head. I've just seen it on Twitter. Flying kick someone in the head.
But what I wanted to point out was, so we lost to Norwich, and I think we were unlucky against Norwich. Also missing 5 or 6 first-team players. We drew with Swansea. We beat Watford. Brentford was a bit of a write-off. We, again, missing a few first-team players. Bournemouth, we lost. Middlesbrough, we drew. Stoke, we played shocking and lost. Bristol City, we beat. And obviously Preston, we drew with today and lost earlier in the season. And then for the sake of this, I'll include Blackburn, who we beat. So we've lost. We haven't won against a lot of them. However, we haven't lost either, with the exception of obviously Swansea, Brentford, Bournemouth, Stoke, and Preston. And in 2 of them games at least, I don't know if you agree with me, you might not, but we've been unlucky. Definitely in Preston.
Definitely Bournemouth.
Bournemouth. Partially us also just giving it away.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I was going with that one.
So another way of looking at it is they're not extending the lead over us. Like, look at it this way. Preston are no closer to the playoffs or to us in 5th than they were 24 hours ago, with one less game to go of the season.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. I think there's loads of different ways you can look at the situation at the moment. I think there is. So, go at the end of the game, drew 0-0. How would you describe the overall performance of the game? Was it a 0-0 game? Was it a game that that's 2 points dropped? Or someone put on Twitter that's 3 points dropped? It's not. It's not. Actually do maths. So how would you describe this result? Is this a point gained because we got a point against someone who's in and around us, or is this points lost?
Situationally, you've got to say 2 points dropped, in my opinion. Sorry,
if you'd have asked me before the game, I'd have taken a draw.
It's a point gained. By this point, it's 2 points lost.
Yeah, I think overall there was 2 teams. I don't think either team really played fantastic.
Neither team deserved a point. Realistically, neither team deserved a point.
No.
It's one of them games where both teams deserve to lose.
Look at it this way. I think Preston fans will be absolutely buzzing with that and see that, we just got a great point. I think they could come away feeling like they've done well, and I think they'll be the happiest set of fans. Whereas I know we're sat here an hour and 10 minutes after the game finished, however long, feeling we should have won that.
Yeah. It's one of those ones where you sit there afterwards and you go, at the end of the season, let's say theoretically, how have we not won? And theoretically, if you go at the end of the season and we've missed out on theoretically automatic promotion by a point, that is what it could come down to. This will be one of the games we look back at and go,
yeah, say we miss out by 5 points. We'll look at today, we'll look at Sheffield Wednesday earlier in the season.
Yeah. Bournemouth away, theoretically 2-0 half time, probably should have got at least a point.
I think with Bournemouth, I think that second half they just outplayed us.
Yeah, they absolutely outplayed us.
Yeah. It's one of those ones where you just kind of think 2-0 at half time, worst result comes to worst, you probably should still draw it. I think if you look at it.
But then concede 2 goals early on in the second half like we did.
Yeah.
It was only going one way.
Yeah. And then Lewis Cook also scored.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about that.
Nothing you can do about that.
That was a good goal. So that's the game review. At least I think it was more of a psychological point coming forward. Is there anything?
I've seen a tweet by a journo who I will not mention, but it's not dislocated. It was very sensitive. He tried in 2 or 3 training sessions. He did improve in the week. My plan was in the game, if it looked good for him, to give him 30 minutes. So obviously, Pauno's looked at it and gone, this game doesn't suit Elise. I'm assuming because of how physical it is.
Yeah, it's one of those situations. I think he's done the right thing where he's gone, we might play 30 minutes if it's open, expansive game of football, where this was very close-knit, tight tackling football, and this was very much of, he could have easily, with the way that the tackles were happening, easily re-injured that shoulder with just one simple tackle, which I think fair play to Paunovic for not doing that. Is there anything you both want to talk about? Anything that you've seen or want to go on about or talk about?
Can we just sign... Who's the winger with linked to the Arsenal one? I can't remember his name.
We're not linked to him. We're not linked with him. I think what Eddie done was he said we are linked to 2 Premier League players, which is a winger and a centre forward, I think it was.
Oh, yeah.
He said if he had his choice, it would have been one of these 3 players. And he put 3 players and goal. What goal? He put 3 players on there that he would have, and that was where it went. I think it's 2 Premier League players on a loan, but we don't know yet.
Yeah, definitely. But I would just quite like a pacey winger who's a bit flary, is what I just quite like. So him or Damari Gray would be, if I was at the club, who I would be eyeing up.
There is something I want to ask now. Obviously, 7 days left of the window. What do we need?
Left back, winger, striker.
Winger, a different option up front, like a different role style of player to Joao, who isn't Sam Baldock. A talented Sam Baldock is what we need. Someone who can actually finish, and another sort of versatile defender can play either side, type of fullback type player.
Okay, and follow-up question. What are we going to get?
Nothing.
Dizzily squat, mate.
I don't think we will sign anyone. I think it will be one of those situations where it will be one player or it will be nothing. And I think it will be a young player.
However, we are also quite good at going, let's throw shit at a wall in the last week of a transfer window. Think about last summer where we had a week to do our business, and we did our business quite well if you think about it.
I think if we spread it out over the summer, yeah, we don't do very well. We always do very good last-minute business. We never do well when it's overstretched and we have to think about it. If it's a last-minute decision, we actually do quite well.
Yeah, we're very fluky, should I say?
Yes, 100%. That is not intentional whatsoever.
No, definitely not. But
if it works,
it's worked in the past, bringing in Premier League. What happened? We brought in 5 Premier League loans, was it, or 4 Premier League loans and a Championship loan from Oliveira, and look how that turned out for us.
Oh, Oliveira.
I'll tell you about him.
You'll never get a
saying I
window
miss
like that
this
again.
man. I want Nelson Oliveira back. That's what I want, just for his shit salary.
You'll never get a window like that again.
No.
Unless
we're in the Premier League.
This is a photo I miss.
No.
That is a photo I miss. Oliveira at Ipswich away.
Yeah.
You'll never get a window like that where you sign 5 players and all of them are massive successes.
Yeah, that's never happening again.
But yeah, Ryan, you said you were going to say something else just then.
Well, I already did.
No, I thought you were going to follow up on something. I thought you were going to say something.
I was going to say, who would you like realistically?
No, I had Messi's contracts up at the end. I'm joking. Like that Colin Bramall, the left back from Colchester.
One. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that's another Lawrence situation? Because I think his
contract's up at the end of the season. That's a Yaya Dom mould type of signing, isn't it?
Yeah. I wouldn't mind someone like that. I wouldn't mind a Portuguese, which would be very difficult now. Maybe the restrictions are a little bit different.
No, because he's an elite sportsman. All you need is a negative test.
Yeah.
But Mendes looks like he's going to Rio Ave.
Wherever he goes. Not Pedro Mendes. I don't want him.
No, but I just wanted to make this point. He's linked to going to Rio Ave. Guess who also is at Rio Ave? Pele Gomez.
Oh yeah, of course he is.
Yeah, of course he is.
Thought I'd put that point out because I saw that on Twitter the other day.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind a young Portuguese winger. They very, very 90% of the time they are very quick, and they're very skillful, and they love to run at defenders. Penalty. Love to run at defenders. So for me, I wouldn't mind someone like that.
I'd like Eddie Nketiah from Arsenal. That's what I'd want.
See, no, because he wouldn't fit in our system. Because he'd be another.
Well, that's what I said. I want someone who's a bit.
It's another option, though. That's what
so we tried. Okay, so I think he could work more, but we would have to really pinpoint our passing over the top because he's very much the one that's on the edge of a defender. And
we kind of do that at points with Joao anyway. If you look at it, his goal against Huddersfield, and I think it gives us that other option of being.
He's literally a better
maybe games where we're like today, where we're not really getting Joao into the right option. Maybe having that option of we can ping it long and Nketiah will get on the end of it.
But would Arteta loan him to a club that knows he's going to be on the bench? I reckon he would only get loaned to a club where he knows he's going to be playing.
Well, he went to Leeds, so...
He went to Leeds and never got a loan. He went to Arsenal and he started doing quite well. But then he seems to be... Lacazette's picked up his performance and he's come back in. So I can't see Arsenal loaning him to a club where they've got a top goal scorer, where he won't be playing. He will only go to a club if their club is doing crap and they haven't actually got a striker and they need a striker.
Look at it this way as well. Maybe he could look at it and think, well, he's a good player and he's up to that standard. I want him to go somewhere where he'll have competition for places and have to keep at top of his...
Think Benica Phobie, basically a similar mould, came from Arsenal on loan, where we had a designated goal scorer, or a few of them, up front.
Jason Roberts at the same time, wasn't it?
Jason Roberts came in at the same time. And Benica Phobie came in on loan, which probably gave him some much needed experience that he needed at a good level. Whilst playing for a team up the top end of the Championship, because at the end of the day, Arteta's not going to want him to go to a team that's used to battling relegation, because it's no use for here comes banter, Arsenal down in the relegation zone banter.
Yeah.
But like, he's not going to want him to go to a team that, if you're Chelsea, City, one of those big clubs, you don't want your player going to a club down the bottom, because they're not going to play like a team that's used to winning. You want them to play at a team that's used to winning.
Also, I think we kind of have a similar style, in the sense like it won't take too much.
I think we do have a similar style in the fact that we can play this nice tiki-taka.
Yeah, no, that's what I said.
And then we can just go full shit out and lob it long to Joao and hope for the
best. Yeah, that's what I said. I think it would be a good move from their point of view, because it's a team where, let's be fair, Arteta, the Arsenal board, and Nketiah will be there thinking, well, if I play well, I can get in this team.
Yeah.
And that will keep him playing at the top of his game, pushing to get in the team. If he doesn't, that's good experience for him still, and he's going to be playing well in training to try and get in that team. So it will still be beneficial to him and to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree on that. I agree. Anything else before we finish? No, perfect.
No,
yeah, go on.
I said I don't think so.
No. Perfect. No worries there. Well, thank you ever so much for everyone coming to join us. Thank you ever so much for coming and liking, sharing, commenting, and do all that lovely stuff, so more people will be able to see it. And we will see you guys on Thursday or Friday, depending on what goes on during the week, for the next episode, building up to the big game on the Friday night football against Bournemouth. We will see you guys then. Hope you all take care. Hope you're all very well, as well. And don't forget as well, especially with lockdown at the moment, we are here if you guys need to talk. So yeah, all peace, love and care, and we will see you guys soon. Bye.
Alex Neil beats his wife.
Oh, sorry, really? I haven't even ended recording as well. I'm not even.